Man, what's cracking, gang? It's T Nasty, and I'm back with another banger for you guys. UFC 308 is this Saturday and is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. The main card is insane, topped off one of my most anticipated fights of this year. I am so excited, boys. I'm just sitting here low-key bricked up right now just thinking about it. And the best part is there's not a single women's fight. No bathroom breaks in this one, boys, so make sure you are not overhydrating. It is also an early card, so make sure you go to bed Friday night super early so you can wake up Saturday morning and be there for them prelims. In all seriousness though, we are back with another draft for the UFC 308 fighters. I got my boys joining me here in a minute where we will be picking fighters we think will win for our team. Whoever gets the most points will be crowned the T-Nasty MMA Prediction Champion, and whoever gets the least amount of points will have to do the loser challenge, where they'll be wearing a clown costume during our recap show on Sunday, as well as wearing it out into public. With all of that being said, I'm going to make a quick little cut and I'll hop in a call with the boys. Make sure to stick around until the end. I will be back to give you guys my official 100% accurate picks and predictions, so don't click off unless you hate free money. We'll be right back. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the UFC 308 draft. The T-Nasty MMA Prediction Championship is back up for grabs. I got my boys with me. I got Brendo back for his second title shot.
Yo.
And then we got a couple newcomers. I got my boy Jared.
How's it going, Trent? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, brother. And then we got my man Adam, aka Huncho Mint.
Looking to make an impact for my first time on.
Yes, sir. All right, so how this is going to go down is we're going to go through a snake draft, drafting one by one, picking fighters from the UFC 308 card that we think are going to win until we each have a team of 7 fighters. And so once we get to the event, your fighters on your team can earn you points or they can lose you points. It's +1 point for a decision, +2 points for a finish, and then minus points if they lose by decision or finish. And then we have also added a new rule where if your fighter wins or loses in the first round, it's double points. And whoever has the most points will be the T-Nasty MMA champion, and whoever gets last place will have to do the loser challenge. So, boys, what are the confidence levels and excitement levels going into this UFC 308 card?
I'm hyped. I think the prelims are great. I think the main card's even better. It's going to be a great Saturday.
I'm feeling pretty confident. I did zero research. All I did was I woke up at 5 a.m. and I prayed to Jeff Neal for about 10 minutes.
Hell yeah. Jeff Neal's my boy, bro. I love that. Brendo, this is your second shot at the T-Nasty MMA Championship. What did you do differently this time going into this?
Absolutely not a thing. Did everything the same. We're just going with the same strategy as last time. Got second place, so we're still gunning for not last.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, hopefully this time you might be able to get the championship, but who knows? You might have to do the loser challenge. But so yeah, we're about to get into this draft. We already went ahead and randomized the draft order. First up, we got Jared, and then we got Adam, and then we got me, and then in last we got Brendo, who unfortunately is last for the second time in a row, but he gets 2 picks, so it might work out in his favor. Does anybody have any last words before we get into this draft?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. Jared, you're up first. Who you got?
Yeah. I'm going to take Magomed. Is it Ankalaev? I'm saying that right. I think we all know that he wants the title shot against Pereira. I think he's going to do whatever means necessary to get that title shot. But he's going to play extremely safe. It'll be a good fight, but extremely safe. And just looking for easy points right off the get-go. So we're going to go with him.
Yeah, I think that's a safe pick. Probably a guaranteed +1. I think there's a chance he gets a finish, though. I mean, a lot of people say he's boring, but he actually has 6 knockouts in the UFC, I believe. So he's a savage, and I think he gets it done. So I like that pick. All right, Adam, you're up next. Who you got?
I'm taking a man with elite hands, elite takedown defense, and a sick nickname. And he's facing an old head. Give me Jeff Neal.
Let's go. Jeff Neal, first round.
Can't go wrong.
All right, then I'm up next. For my first pick, I'm looking at the board, and I got to go with someone who I think is going to get the finish. I need those +2 points, possibly +4 if he gets it in the first round. I'm taking my boy Shara Magomed. He's a savage. He's facing striker Petrosian, and he gets the. All right, Brendo, you're.
All right, with my first pick, I'm gonna take my boy Rob Whittaker. I think hopefully he'll be able to keep it on the feet with Kamzat and then outstrike him. But we'll see. And then my
Oh,
second pick, I'll go with one of the Basharat bros, Fareed Basharat, coming in heavy favorite against Hugo. I'm liking my odds.
yeah, I got mad respect for that pick. I like Fareed a lot, so I think there's a good chance he gets the win here. Got to find him on this board. There he is. All right. It's back up to me once again. For my second pick, once again, I'm going with someone who I think is going to get the finish. I'm going with my boy Renat Fakhretdinov. Seeing a late notice on it, and I think there's a good chance he ends up finishing the guy. So yeah, Renat Fakhretdinov is my next pick. Adam, you're back up once again. Who you got?
I've been riding this hype train since it started, and I'm gonna keep riding it. Give me Hamzat Shamaev.
What are you trying to do?
Hell
Going up
yeah,
against Brendan straight up.
let's go. Yeah, you and Brendo is the first head-to-head matchup we got going on here. Listen, I like the pick. I think Shamaev's a beast, and I think after this fight, everyone hops back on the train.
I'm hoping.
So yeah, it's a good pick. Jared, you're up next with 2 picks back to back. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Holloway. I don't think that Topuria has versed as good of a kickboxer as Holloway. I think Holloway's gonna get it done. Topuria's gonna come to punch. I'll tell you that. He's gonna come ready to go. But as long as Max doesn't get overwhelmed, stays true to himself, and really kicks the way he does, I think he finishes him in the 4th round.
I like the way you
Second,
think. I'm very jealous. I wanted to pick Max as well. So mad respect.
yeah, he's great. Second pick, in my opinion, going to be fight of the night. Leron Murphy. Danny Gay again. We know how he is. He's coming to fight. He's going to come to hurt Murphy, but Murphy's going to get it done. He has the reach and height advantage. It's going to be an amazing fight, but Murphy's going to pull through and get the win.
Yeah, mad respect. I like Lerone a lot. I like Danny Gay too. He's a savage, but I think Lerone might be able to get the win in this one. He's undefeated, so yeah, I like that pick. Adam, you're back up again with your next pick. Who you got?
To quote Jared on someone who shows up to punch, I feel like Chris Barnett only shows up to punch. So give me the wonder kid from Spain, Spain's last hope, Chris Barnett.
I don't know about Spain's last hope, man. We got my boy Ilia down there, but
That's true.
I like the pick. I cannot believe he's from Spain. That is so crazy, but I like the
That's
pick. Chris
absurd.
Barnett is a beast. He's taking this fight on late notice, so I don't know. Hopefully, for your sake, he gets the win. Back up to me once again. Said Ilia Topuria's down there. He's the for Spain. I'm going against you, Jared. Ilia. You guys know I love Max, but I think Ilia has a good chance of cracking that chin or getting a submission. So I think it might be +2 for me. I think it's Ilia's time. So that's my next pick. Brendo, you're up next. Who you got?
Up next, we're gonna go with my boy Saeed. I think he's gonna get the finish, but I like the odds here. He's looking good. I don't know much about the
Yeah, I mean,
about well actually we don't know much about any guy that he's fighting. I forgot Daniel Santos pulled out.
yeah, he's going up against mystery opponent. But I like the pick. Who you got next?
Oh yeah, I forgot I got back to back. Next we'll take my tech oral by the man out of the ice. I think he's looking good, especially with the reach advantage against Rebecca. I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah, I don't know. I like his chances. I think he's a good fighter. He's literally from prehistoric times. I don't know. He's a cool ass dude. I like the pick. All right, back up to me once again. For my next pick, Adam, I'm sorry to go against you, but I'm going to take my boy Kennedy and Jekuku. He's got a crazy advantage, very tough strike. Chris Barnett's on late notice. I think Kennedy gets it done. maybe by TKO, but probably by decision. So I think that's a guaranteed point for me right there in Kennedy. Up to you, Adam. Who you got next?
At this point, I'm just picking straight savages. Give me Dan Ige. I love Dan Ige knockout, so
Let's
I'm hoping
go.
for it.
Yeah, I mean that he's getting a knockout right there in that pick. Like we said, Dan is a savage. He took that last fight on like 3 hours notice, saved UFC 303. So shout out to Dan. I think him and Larone's gonna be a good
Legend.
scrap. Like you mentioned, Jared, it might be fight of the night. So that's a good pick. All right, Jared, you're back up with 2 more. Who you got?
Yeah. First, we're gonna take Bruno Ferreira. I think it's another potential for Friday night, but the Ige one's for sure gonna be it, in my opinion. He's not favored. He's looking to prove the books wrong. He's 12-1, 10 first round finishes, 9 by knockout. I think these are just some easy points for me to take late in the draft. So we're gonna go Bruno. Second,
Hell yeah.
we'll go Ismaili Nardiev. 15 first round finishes. Got a sleeper with a lot of points here in the back end of the draft. And the guy he's facing, Silva, has lost 5 of his last 6. So I think Ismaili gets it done here. It gives you some good points in these early prelims.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like those picks. Both of those guys, like you said, a lot of first round finishes. I take Bruno Ferreira myself, so I respect that pick for sure. All right, Adam, you're up next. Who you got once again?
Sliding all the way down to the bottom of the prelims. My brother from Turkey. Give me Ibo Aslan.
Let's go. I like Ebo.
Fighting a guy who's
One
making
fight in
his
UFC,
UFC
one
debut.
knockout.
Yep.
Yep. I think it could be 2 points for you right there. I like that pick.
The last Ottoman.
All right,
It's a
back
cool
up to
nickname
me
as well.
once again. Yeah, yes, sir. It's back up to me once again, and I'm gonna go ahead and go bold with this one. I'm not liking this board. It's not looking too hot, so I'm gonna take a big risk, and I'm gonna take the mark. If you haven't heard, Said Nurmagomedov's opponent pulled out literally today as we're filming this, so we're not sure who their replacement's gonna be. Rumor has it might be Charles Johnson. He's throwing on Twitter because I think he would be able to win against Said Nurmagomedov and stretch the fight and tire him out. So hopefully, taking the question mark, the mystery, making a big risk with this one. But Brendo, you're back up once again.
Is anyone taking Rocket yet?
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'll go Rocket with my next pick, like the last guy even on the board I know. I think he looked pretty good against Yuri, at least at first. And then next pick,
Until he lost.
yeah, I say until he got knocked out, but it happens. And then next pick, I'll go with my boy Abus. I think he's got it just based on
Hell yeah.
the last name alone.
Yeah, I mean, you never pick against a guy with OV at the last 2 letters of his name.
Exactly.
Good pick though. I like Abus. I think he's gonna get pick back right up where he left off before the Sean Strickland loss. He might come back, and I like Rakic too. Rakic is good. Ankalaev is definitely overlooking him, so he has a good chance of picking up the win in this one and getting the fraud check. So I like those picks. But it's back up to me once again. Go against you. I'm looking at these guys, and the one who I think has the best chance of getting a finish is my boy Mateusz Rebecki. He's an Oralby who is a beast, but Rebecki is a beast himself. They call him Rebecki. I think he has a good chance of getting the knockout, so I'm gonna go ahead and take him. But Adam, you're back up once again. Who you got for your next pick?
Don't know any of these guys, so I'm just gonna snatch the last guy on the main card, Armin Petrosian.
Yeah, against me with. I'll be honest.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think there's a chance he wins. Shara's a fucking beast, but you never know. It's UFC. Anything can happen. Armin is a good fighter. He's a good striker, so who knows? Jared, you're back up once again with 2 more.
Yeah. Board is looking a little dry. Let's go Rafael Sugiura.
For sure.
He's good late here. I think 7 of his last 10 fights were TKOs, so I think he's a safe bet here late. Last pick. You know what? It's my first time here. I'm an underdog. Let's go ahead and just take the biggest underdog in the whole card with Victor Hugo. Bro is for sure gonna lose, but you know, if I'm an underdog, I gotta put one on my team too. So
You never
we're gonna go with
know.
Yeah, that's the thing about UFC. You never know. Anyone can beat anybody. Fareed is undefeated, and everyone loses eventually, unless you're Khabib. So you never know. I like Victor Hugo. I think he has a good chance of winning. I like Circuera too. I mean, we don't really know much about any of these last three guys, but based off of what we do know, you never know. You know. But Adam, you're back up once again with your last pick. Who you got?
Yet again, don't know any of these fighters, so just give me big Bruno Silva.
Let's go. I like Bruno, man. Might be the end for him, bro. He's definitely fighting for his career with this one, so he's gonna be hungry for sure. So I
Yeah.
think that's a good pick out of the last three we got here. And I think you have to take Carlos Leal, Brendo, because I already have. No, you have. No, you can take Carlos. You're taking Carlos. I'm taking RDA to avoid any cross picks. So that is the rest of the board. We got my team with Shara Magomedov, Dinov, Ilia Topuria, Kenny and Rafael dos Anjos. Then we got Brendo's team, Kurat, Mixbek Orobai, Said Magomedov, Alexander Rakic, Abus Magomedov, and Carlos Leal. Then we got Huncho Mint's team with Jeff Neal, Kamzat Chimaev, Chris Barnett, Dan Ige, Ibo Aslan, Armin Petrosian, and Bruno Silva. Then we got Jared's team with Magomed Ankalaev, Max Holloway, Lerone Murphy, Bruno Ferreira, Ismail Nardiev, Rafael Cirquiera, and Victor Hugo. Editor Trent here real quick, guys. I'm very sorry to reveal this information. We did not know this at the time of the draft, but unfortunately yesterday, Said Nurmagomedov, his fight got canceled. They were unable to find a replacement, or so they say. I don't know. There was literally hella guys on Twitter raising their hands. Charles Johnson wanted it. Would have been sick to have him fight twice in 2 weeks. He didn't even take any damage, so I don't know why they couldn't do it. The UFC are just a bunch of cowards. Either that or Said didn't want the fight, but I just don't see that being the truth. He literally hasn't fought since last year's Abu Dhabi card, so he definitely wanted to fight here, and he would have had a late replacement opponent, which would have been like an easy finish for him, so that makes no sense. The UFC, like I said in my State of the Union address, are just cowards and horrible matchmakers nowadays. They're phoning it in, and they just didn't want to fly someone out to Abu Dhabi because they're fucking cheapskates. But yeah, so as a result of this, Brendan is losing Said Nurmagomedov off his team. I'm losing the mystery opponent off my team, and then in the spirit of fairness, Adam and Jared have decided to let go of Bruno Silva and Ismail Nardiev in the spirit of fairness, just so, you know, they lose out on the same amount of people as us. And so now that leaves all of us with 6 fighters each on our team. So what are the confidence levels with these picks, guys?
Pretty confident. I feel
I
like my team looks pretty good.
Yeah, I feel great. I think that you know, I picked my safe ones in the beginning. You know, the guys that I think are going to get knockouts in the middle. Is my strategy going into this, and I think it worked out well.
I'm relying on power. That's what my team relies on. We don't
Yes,
rely on
sir.
stamina
Huncho, I know
here.
you did some very extensive
Oh,
I know you did some very
absolutely.
extensive research and a lot of planning. So
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I
lots
think
of
it
it.
planned out well for you. I'm definitely not too confident. My team isn't looking too hot. You know, I got Mystery Fighter, I got RDA, freaking Rebetsky, but you never know, like we said. So I don't know. Brendo, I'm looking at your team. Your team's looking very strong, especially these first 4 guys right here. And then Jared's a close second. I knew going into this, I thought Jared was going to be a freaking force and someone to be scared of because this dude's always sending me his parlays and they're always looking so good and they almost never miss. And if they do, it's on like the last leg. So Jared's got a lot of knowledge. I think this is a good draft, boys. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, thanks for doing this draft, y'all. Make sure to tune in Sunday for the post-fight recap show where we'll be announcing the next T Nasty MMA predictions champion. Whoever has the most points will be the winner and new champion. And whoever has the least amount of points will be back on the post show to do the loser challenge where they'll be wearing the clown costume while we go over our instant reactions to the card. Yeah, any last words about this draft, boys?
No, sir.
Let
I
him
think
fight.
it was. I think I'm going to win it. Good draft.
All right. Hell yeah. Thanks for doing this again, boys. We'll see you Saturday. Enjoy the violence. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that draft. Shout out to Brendo, Adam, and Jared for joining me. Make sure to tune in Sunday to hear our instant reactions, fights to make, as well as the draft results with the loser challenge and the next T Nasty MMA predictions champion being crowned. But before I get out of here, I'm going to run through my picks for the entire card, which as you guys know are 100% accurate as always. So make sure to parlay the opposite of every pick if you want some free money. Kicking things off on the prelims, we have Hanat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal. We have a beast in Hanat, whose original opponent fell out, going against Carlos, who is taking his UFC debut on short notice. Carlos is one of those guys who has been at the UFC level for a while now, but just hasn't gotten his shot until this point. He is the LFA champion, so he has proven he is a skilled fighter. Unfortunately for him, he has to face Hanat, who is a very well-rounded fighter. His striking is not the most technical, but he does have power and is very aggressive, and then on the ground he is just elite. I see Hanat getting a win by finish within 2 rounds, either by ground and pound TKO or a submission after hurting him on the feet. Next up, we have Ismail Naurdiev versus Bruno Silva. Another fighter in Naurdiev making his debut. He has a lot of first-round finishes, but a somewhat spotty regional career. He's facing Bruno Silva, who is definitely on the downslide in his career, but he's still definitely the highest level opponent Ismail has ever faced. He has been in there with some of the best in the world, but I believe this fight will end up going to decision with Ismail Naurdiev getting the win in his debut. Moving on, we have Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo. Farid is one half of the Basharat bros, and he has the makings of a future title contender. He is extremely well-rounded, just like his brother, but he seems to be slightly better than Javid in my opinion. Hugo is coming into his second fight with the UFC, and he's a very promising talent as well. Both guys are extremely well-rounded and very composed fighters. I see this being a technical chess match, with Farid taking the win by unanimous decision. Hopefully it's just not boring. After that, we have Kennedy Nzechukwu moving up to heavyweight to face Beast Boy Chris Barnett. We all know Chris is goated, especially after taking this matchup on short notice. He was actually supposed to fight a few weeks ago versus Junior Tafa, but had to pull out after his family was affected by the hurricane. But he's good to go now and will face Kennedy in Abu Dhabi. But Chris is one of those fat heavyweights who isn't very technical. He just has heart and fighting spirit for days. Kennedy is somewhat the opposite, showing a very technical striking style that is pretty rare in the heavyweight division. I think in this fight, Chris will have his moments, but Kennedy will just be too long, too fast, and too technical, and Kennedy will get a decision win. And then it will be Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. I think this one has a good chance of being fight of the night. Abus is a more technical striker who likes to stick to the outside, but can also use his grappling if he needs to. Bruno is just a straight up savage brawler with crazy power. I'm a big fan of Bruno's style as he comes to fight, not just to win. I see this fight being very entertaining in round 1, with Bruno likely hurting him and then Abus using his grappling to survive. I think there's a good chance Abus uses his grappling to ride out to a decision, but I'm going to pick Bruno Ferreira to win by round 2 KO. Next up, we have Mateusz Rebecki versus Mikbek Orolbai. This is my official pick for fight of the night. I think this will be a banger. Rebecki comes to scrap every time, throwing heat until the bitter end, and Orolbai is a very well-rounded talent who will be there in the fight the whole time. He is definitely more of a grappler, so I see him using his wrestling to hold Rebecki down a little bit and stop the threat of his power, but I'm going to go with Mikbek Orolbai by decision after a lot of control time and ground and pound, as well as a war on the feet. Continuing on in the prelims, we got Jeff Neal, Hands of Steel, versus Rafael Dos Anjos. It's kind of crazy to see RDA still here. He won the title almost a decade ago, and he's still facing high-level opponents. But I think this would be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. I think RDA will try and use his well-rounded game and resort to the wrestling when Jeff starts to hurt him with his power combinations. He may get a takedown or two, but I ultimately see Jeff getting back up and putting his hands on RDA to eventually get the KO late in round 3. And then for the prelim main event, we have Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Cerqueira. I expect this one to be exciting based on what we know, but there isn't much info on either of these guys to be honest. Ibo has one fight in the UFC, a win by KO, and Cerqueira will be making his debut in this one. I'm not too confident about this pick, but I expect it to be a fun fight regardless. I'm going to go with Ibo Aslan by decision, just based on him having a little bit more UFC experience. Now for the main card, we kick things off with my boy Shara Bullet versus Armen Petrosyan. Now this is one I see either being a crazy good fight or really boring. Shara Bullet is a fucking sick striker. He has very good Muay Thai and a lot of really flashy and sweet spinning techniques. I think he's going to piece Petrosyan up on the feet. Petrosyan is a striker as well, but once Shara starts landing on him, I see Arman switching up to the wrestling. I'm sure Shara will get taken down a few times because his takedown defense is just not very good, but he is also super dangerous off his back, and he's going to do damage there too. Ultimately, I'm going to pick Shara Magomedov to win by unanimous decision. Second fight on the main card, we have Lerone Murphy versus Dan 50K Ige. Man, this one hurts because we all love Dan Ige. He's a fucking savage for saving UFC 303 and taking that Diego Lopez fight on hours notice. It's honestly a slap in the face that they gave him this fight after that. A horrible matchup all the way in Abu Dhabi is just so disrespectful. But at least it's a big fight with a top 10 opponent though. Regardless, I think this is another one that could be fight of the night. Both guys are pretty fun fighters. They have good striking styles. I think Dan Ige is especially going to come out guns blazing. Lerone Murphy's a little bit more technical. I see him kind of playing it safe a little bit and sticking it to the outside. But I think Dan will have moments, and I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy by decision. I just think his technique and momentum will be too much for Dan, unfortunately. Let's move on. In the feature fight, we have Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. I think we could see a finish in this one for sure, but it will probably end up being a stinker, to be honest. I think Ankalaev is going to camp on a title shot and just play it safe in this one. I do think he is a better fighter, but I just don't see him playing it too risky. The Rakic underdog line is calling my name, but I'm going to stick with a smart choice and go with Ankalaev. I think he could get a submission in this one, but I'm going to lock in Magomed Ankalaev by decision for my official pick. Now, in the co-main event, we have Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. Man, I love this fight. Inject this fucking fight into my veins. Back in the day, I was the conductor of the Chimaev hype train, but he unfortunately let that die with all his time off. I still think Khamzat is a future champ, and I know it's a crime to say that these days, but I don't care. Lock me up. I think he's going to finish Robert Whittaker in this one, gang. I see Rob having moments on the feet, especially landing that head kick a couple times maybe, but I also see Khamzat dropping him a couple times as well. People do not talk about Khamzat's power. I think he's dangerous on the feet too. And I know Rob has elite takedown defense, but I just cannot imagine a world where Khamzat doesn't get him down at least once. Once Khamzat gets that takedown, he's going to dominate Rob, landing ground and pound and going for subs. I think Rob will survive round 1, but for my official pick, I'm going to go with Khamzat Chimaev by round 2 submission. And the moment we've all been waiting for, Ilia Topuria versus Max Blessed Holloway. I fucking love this fight. I've been looking forward to this since Topuria won the belt. You guys know I'm a Max Glazer, but I predicted Ilia to become champ as well. I think this fight is going to be so sick. Two of the best boxers in the UFC, and they're going to just go at it. They low-key have a little beef going on too, which is nice. Ilia's saying he's going to come out and do the point in the first 10 seconds, and I hope for his sake he doesn't do that. But anyway, in this fight, I think it's going to be mostly contested on the feet. I think Ilia will be really dangerous in the first 3 rounds and will hurt Max. I don't know if he'll drop him, but he will at least rock him and then take it to the ground probably. I think Ilia will have the advantage in the grappling, but Max will be able to escape any submission attempts and get up. I ultimately see Max taking over in rounds 3, 4, and 5, and really weaponizing his cardio like he loves to do. I see Max tempting him into a brawl and then just unleashing some crazy combos on him. This one honestly could be fight of the night as well. I think it's going to be one of the best title fights all year, but ultimately I'm going to pick Max Holloway to regain his belt and win via 5th round TKO. I think Max will hurt him to the body when he's tired and then get the finish up against the cage with a long combination. So yeah, those are the picks for UFC 308, guys. On the prelims, we got Hanat Fakhretdinov, Ismail Nardiev, Farid Basharat, Kennedy Nzechukwu, Bruno Ferreira, Mikbek Orolbai, Jeff Neal, and Ibo Aslan. And then on the main card, I got Shara Magomedov, Magomed Ankalaev, Lerone Murphy, Khamzat Chimaev, and Max Holloway taking the wins. Now for some other predictions on the card. I see there being one major weight miss by multiple pounds, which hopefully doesn't get a fight canceled, but there are just a lot of short notice replacements. I feel like at least one person will miss weight. I also see this card having some absolutely boring prelims, but the main card will be a hood classic. I just pray I don't wake up at 9 a.m. to watch an absolute snooze fest, but I just know the prelims will be trash. They always are in Abu Dhabi. It is pretty stacked on paper, though. And lastly, I see all Muslim fighters winning, or most of them lose. I say this on every pay-per-view now, but every time they do a regional show like this, all the fighters from there actually win, or most of them get fraud checked. This one's a lock for sure. And then for fight of the night, like I said, I see it being Bruno Ferreira versus Abus Magomedov, Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige, or Ilia versus Max. I'm going to go with Bruno Ferreira versus Abus Magomedov to get it. I just think it's a sick stylistic matchup, and we're going to go and get Bruno Ferreira Violence Classic. As for performance of the night, I see it going to Khamzat for sure, and then either Max or Ilia if they manage to get a finish, or the second one will probably go to Shara Magomedov. If you guys stuck around, go ahead and drop a chee-wee-wees down in the comments. I know it was a long one, but I am putting you on game, so you will not regret it. Go ahead and bet the opposite of each pick and enjoy printing money. If you guys enjoyed this prediction and draft video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, become a member, duplicate your account, and repeat all those steps for me. If you are not doing those things, you are a straight up casual with all due respect. If you want to be a test maxing, hardcore MMA fan like myself and all my brilliant subscribers, you must be subscribed to this channel. As always, you're welcome for this phenomenal content, you're welcome for the free money, and don't forget to come back Sunday for the UFC 308 recap show. Anyways, I'm out. Enjoy the violence. Take it easy, gang.